Welcome into the Beat Sessions, your place for all things music. I am your host, Mitchell Weary. Very excited for what is about to happen this evening. This is a channel first, and I got a great guest in with me today. I want all of you to welcome Mr. Chris Armstrong into the channel. How you doing, my friend?
What's up, Mitchell?
It's great to see you. I know that we've been chatting quite a bit back and forth here. I think you hit me up probably, like 2 months ago?
Yeah,
To
that
start
sounds
this
about
thing
right.
off. Yeah, we
Yeah,
were connected by a mutual friend of ours who, if you guys are familiar with the channel, Jaffe. I did an interview with him about 2 months ago, and Jaffe hooked Chris and I up, and yeah, we've been chatting back and forth about the new record that their band has put out, their
yes.
debut, Von Willard. And I got that right up here. Actually, I'm going to pull this down now for a few seconds here to kind of note it. But yeah, I'll show that off to everybody there for the channel. That is the record right there, the band's debut, and we're really excited to talk about it. And being a channel first, we're gonna play this thing tonight.
Oh, right on.
We're
That's
gonna
awesome.
we're gonna see how that goes. We'll drop the needle on that and give it a go. Get some commentary from you while we go through that too. I'm trying to figure out. I don't know what the proper etiquette as far as how this goes down is, but I think we might play each track, and then just depending on what appears in the comments. We can just go from there and kind of, take some questions and feel out what is going on with everybody.
Let's do
Um,
it. Yeah.
but spicy freestyles. I don't know. Do you know spicy freestyles?
No.
I got a big let's go. I'm ready for you too. There's Jaffe right there. He just turned up.
No. All right. What's up, Jaffe?
Jaffe says, "Turn off Chris's camera, please." So first things first, we like to do a little toast, and I think that your debut record and a channel first, and doing a little spin is worth a toast. So
Absolutely.
we like to pour a little bourbon here on the channel. You said that you're not much for the brown stuff, so that is okay to each their own. I say I got a little Russell's right there, a little single
Right
barrel
on.
private selection. That's some good
Yes.
stuff.
Very nice.
Cheers to you, my friend. Congratulations to you and Chris
Cheers.
and Greg for this.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
I hope some of you raised a glass as well. So I want to jump into a little conversation with you as well. We were chatting a little bit before we were getting this thing started, but this is the debut record. How long have you guys been together? How long have the three of you been making music as a unit?
Yeah. So Greg and I had been playing music since probably 2008, 2009. We were in another band then, and he had told me about he was in another band at the same time called Correlated Sound Machine and CSM, and the other person in that band was Chris, our other guitar player, and I had never met him, and I really wanted to meet him, and then we finally met him, and the three of us are just like glue. Basically, we vibed so hard, and our friendship is phenomenal, and we just love playing music together. So since the three of us got together, that's kind of where it has been moving forward.
About when was that? Would you say? I know you said
Yeah,
2008
yeah.
started, but
To
when,
I
like
think I think that we started doing our own stuff maybe 2017, 2018, around there, because I know that there's an email that Chris just sent me that was like, it was like 2019. So we've been in the works for a little bit. Yeah.
And did you guys start off pursuing originals? Did you guys start off doing live shows as a cover band? What was the angle that kind of made the glue kind of set there?
Yeah. We kind of we were in another band together, the three of us plus our buddy Mike, in this band called the Tavern Men, and we did go out and gig a bit, and then we kind of branched off when I left Colorado and started doing our own, or left California rather, and started doing our own stuff. And we didn't want to leave each other, basically, because we enjoyed playing together so much, and whenever we played together, it was just the seamless, sort of really fantastic vibe that we had together. So we didn't want to leave that. So we decided to continue doing it. And although they're in California and I'm here, we figured out a way to make it work. Yeah.
About I mean, how often would you say you guys see each other in person, or is this mostly just remote work and you guys just make it happen in production?
Yeah, it's mostly remote. I have flown out a couple of times to go. The first time when we were like, let's make a record, uh, we got together and we're trying to figure out all the equipment stuff because we never made a record before, and so it was a learning experience, and it was kind of a bust that first visit. But we ended up circling back around. Greg, our drummer, who is like the kind of like the foundation of all of us, um, completely learned Pro Tools and how to mic his drums and do everything on his own. And from that point on, once we got to that, it was kind of easy sailing. I mean, we've run into a few bumps, but it's actually been fantastic. And then the second time I flew out was when we did like some more mixing on the album for kind of a final thing.
I mean, we were talking about that chemistry and leading into this thing, and I know that a few days ago you actually sent me a text, and we were talking, and you asked me if I played with anybody, and right now I'm
Yeah.
not because it's tough. Like I know that you have a full-time job. I'm sure Chris and Greg do as well, and trying to manage your schedules, manage your jobs, but with all that like real life stuff, then there's the actual chemistry. There's figuring out do I enjoy coming together creatively with these individuals? And that's easier said than done. I mean, it's one thing to just find someone that's convenient to jam with, but there's an entirely different matter when it comes to, actually having that chemistry with certain individuals, being on the same page, just kind of like just being able to look at one another across the room and just know when something's working and when something's not, and when to go from there. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. That's a great point. And that is kind of the thing that uh, when I first met Chris, I we just and the same with Greg actually. Greg and I, when he came into audition for this band, a few bands prior, and we just immediately clicked. And the same thing with Chris, we just immediately were like, okay. So as far as like our personalities were concerned, we were all right there, kind of on the same energy. And but when we started playing music, it's funny because I don't know if you're aware, you probably are, but like sometimes when you're on stage and you're vibing and you're just totally in the moment and engulfed by the music, and the music just it's almost like an out of body experience, when you're really like getting into that spot, where everything is clicking perfectly. And Chris and Greg and I have a lot of those moments when we play music together. So aside from the fantastic friendship that we have, the music is just like the icing on the cake, if that answers your question.
No, it does. I mean, I mean, being a bass guy too, like those are my favorite moments when I'm sitting there with the drummer, and it hasn't happened often in my life because I don't have that much experience with that dynamic. But yeah, when you just kind of like lose yourself, and it's almost like
Exactly.
your
Yeah.
arms and your hands and your fingers are just doing their own thing, and your head is in this space that is just it's complete euphoria. I mean, like you're just in a different plane, in a different dimension altogether. I think it's one of the greatest feelings that a creative person can have, honestly.
It's what we strive for, when we play music is that, we strive to get to that point.
I was a sponsored runner in my 20s, and I feel like people talk about the runner's high, and I feel like that's a high that's like matches that, maybe if not better.
It's got to be you're running off endorphins or something, right? Yeah, absolutely.
100%. And I think the great element too there is just being able to lose yourself on stage. I think a lot of people do get stage fright, but becoming comfortable to that point and just knowing that, like, I mean, you reach a point, I feel like, mentally where you're not even focused on the people watching you. But I think there's also the element of those individuals that are watching you are feeling it, and they're appreciating it like just as much. Like I feel like we've all been to enough shows to where you can just recognize when musicians are in that moment, and it's special to be able to share that with them.
It really is, and that's true. That energy, whatever is happening, conveys to the audience, hopefully. And I mean, that's what makes people go and see live shows. Is they're getting an authentic experience, hopefully.
So when was the moment that you guys committed to this project? It's one thing to commit to each other for jam sessions and play some live shows and to have some fun, but like, when did this really take hold for you?
It was after I left California, and we really missed each other. I didn't really know anybody here except for my family. My family's all here now, and we we were like, we can't let this go. Let's continue to do this. Let's make a record. Let's just figure out a way to do it, and put the effort in. And we have songs. We still have backlog of songs, of probably 30 to 40 songs that are not ready. They're being worked on, but for the next album, next couple albums. Yeah, we just decided to continue forward. And we would meet once or twice a week. Every Thursday Chris would go over to Greg's, and we'd meet up and FaceTime, and talk about what we wanted to do, talk about family, and just kept it simple and fun. That's what kind of it's about.
But also kind of complicated as well. I love the do-it-yourself aesthetic that's attached to anything, especially this project. I was asking you about Pleasure Point Records, and talk to me about Pleasure Point. What's that all about?
Pleasure Point. So we're just doing it ourselves. We're not searching for any record companies. We're not actively promoting the record except for this. Thank you. This is fantastic. But I sound like Trump. Fantastic. This is fantastic.
Get the hand
But
motions in there.
yeah, we're kind of like, we did the record for ourselves, and if other people enjoy it and happen to hear it and happen to spread the word, that's great, man. That we're not trying to conquer the world or get a record label or anything like that. If it happens, that'd be great. But it's really about just making the music and being creative and having an outlet.
Well, I think that's the next question, because that's, like pressing vinyl. It's not necessarily like a cheap or easy approach to putting out music. I mean, you could have just easily streamed this thing on Apple Music or Spotify or Bandcamp. But I love that you guys took this angle. I mean, if there are bands that come along that hear this record, that appreciate the production value, because it is really damn solid for your guys' first go around.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are you guys open to working with other bands, kind of pursuing that angle with it as well?
I mean, I would never say no to anything, because you never know what's going to happen or what the possibilities are. We don't have any kind of, like I said, I think we're just kind of, whatever happens, happens. And if it works out, it does. I mean, it'd be great, to be able to figure out a way to play more consistently with the guys and go out and do shows, and the possibility of coming on like those platforms, like you said, like Spotify and Apple Music and stuff. We may end up doing that. We may end up making some CDs or whatever. Who knows? We're just really kind of letting it grow organically. We don't have any pretenses for anything, I don't think.
You know who Lord is, right?
Yes.
Pop star. So
Yeah.
she just put her new album out on Friday, and apparently there's a beef. There's a big issue with the CD that she put out. It's almost kind of like a transparent disc. I think I haven't seen it actually in person, or really haven't seen it on the internet. But I actually had a longtime subscriber of the channel say that he got it and it won't play in his car. And there's a bunch of so apparently it's like the old. Like the old CD players where like the entire tray would come out. If you pop it into one of those, it'll play. But if you try to like like insert it into like a car CD player or anything with that kind of structure, like the damn thing just isn't paid.
I heard
at all.
that.
People aren't salty about it.
Yeah. I heard about that. I saw something about that. It seems like everybody has feedback about everything, you know. So I don't know. Like I feel sorry for those artists. It's like you got to tune that stuff out. You know, you just got to tune it out and move on.
Well, I mean, I think too, like she's got the luxury of being Lord. I mean, from your perspective, I mean, I like I don't know what resources are like, but I know that. I mean, I imagine that if you guys pressed or burned a bunch of CDs and popped them out and they didn't work, that would be rather disappointing. Versus like again, like I love the approach that you took with taking the time and effort to press the wax, to put it on what I think is the best medium that's out there.
It's just cool, man. Honestly, I mean, bottom line, it's just cool. You know, it's cool having a record, and I've never had one before. So this is our. I don't think maybe Greg and Chris have had records out with different bands, but this is my first, and it's my first as a singer. So that's even and with songs that I've written, so that's cool. It's kind of a whole new experience for me, and I'm just lucky to be part of it. You know.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that process? I mean, because it's one thing to write a record, and there's that whole dynamic, all the work that goes into that. But I mean, to actually do things yourself, to go in, produce, to mix the tracks yourself. I assume that you guys put together the album artwork as well, or did you? Yeah, I mean, this whole process. Talk about that. Like what that was like.
Yeah. So I mean, even like picking the band name, we conversed many texts, trying to figure out what would sound good for the band name. And then when we finally ended on one, and then we went through 1,000 images, or 500 or whatever images that we thought were cool. And I tried to do some of it, but like nothing came out good. And this is what we ended up with. And I think it's kind of representative of I don't know, whatever we sound like. And, as far as production goes, like I said, like Greg and Chris really like took the bull by the horns. And like Chris would send me like, I don't know, 7 or 8 tracks of a solo. And he's like, which one fits here best, and Greg would text me and be like, oh, I'm gonna add some percussion to this or whatever, and then I would mix it, and then when we finally picked all the songs that we wanted to be on the album, I flew out to California, and we sat and we listened to it on a bunch of different mediums and platforms, and kind of remixed it while we were there, and then we sent it off to mastering, because that's a bit more than we wanted to bite off as far as that part.
And so I mean, that's crazy. Like most of this just took place in your spot there in Colorado, where we're seeing you at.
Well, as far as the mixing part, I mean, Chris and Greg were recording their parts, and then sending them to me, and then we'd send them back and forth, and we'd finally get to a spot where we're like, okay, that I think this is good. Let's do some mixing, and then we'd mix it, and everybody has a third input. So if it doesn't fly with one person, it's got to be unanimous. We all have to be on board. So that's kind of the approach that we took to everything. So it's got the okay from everybody.
Did you have what's your preference of software? Did you go through a couple programs before you found one you liked, or did you just like take recommendations? Or
you're gonna laugh at me. You're gonna laugh at me, Mitchell. So Chris and I used GarageBand, and Greg used Pro Tools for his drums, and he figured out how to run Pro Tools. But GarageBand had everything that I needed to do this record, and I didn't even touch like probably half of its capabilities, So I know it's GarageBand, but whatever, it worked.
It's not like I think maybe it gets stigmatized because it's really easy to just pop up on your iPhone or Android, and I mean you can sit there and play on your phone and make music, but ultimately I think it's more sophisticated than people give it credit for. And I think that this album
absolutely.
I think this album's really very good evidence of that. Um, and I think it's all about interface too. It's I mean certain programs are going to just operate differently. Like visually, they work different. You know, stuff might be located in spots where all of our brains are different. And I just shit like whatever works for you works for you.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And like the simplicity for me is key in just in life in general. Like let's keep it simple, you know. So the ability to just like drag and drop and all that kind of stuff, and the controls are pretty easy. So, but it's funny because Greg picked like the industry standard Pro Tools
mhm.
for, and he figured out from scratch, not knowing anything, how to do all of that. And I thought his drums came out fantastic. I thought he did a great job recording the drums.
I think. I mean, I think the mix sounds great. I think all the instrumentation is solid on this record. Are you taking most of the bass work or the guitar work on this thing, or how does that work between you and Chris?
Yeah, good question. It's split up. I'd probably say 50-50. You know, if they're my songs, I typically write on guitar, with the exception of a couple. Um, and Chris will, he'll send me his stuff, and he's usually got like most of the guitar stuff done, and he does all like the super intricate stuff. And if it's stuff like that, I'll drop the bass line on it, unless we use his bass line. So we go back and forth. We both kind of play both of those roles.
Excellent. And as far as the feel of this record, from the moment I dropped the needle on it, I mean, it just took me back. It really took me.
Really.
I mean, it took me back to being a '90s kid, to just that era of. I mean, like I feel like the major movements of music, you had like grunge in the early '90s, and then like the Brit pop invasion, right, and then basically that turn towards pop music, pop punk, everything that kind of happened in the later '90s. But I feel
Mhm.
like through the '90s there was just a solid movement of rock and roll, indie bands, alternative bands, talking about the grunge bands. But I mean, punk music as well is something that I hear on this record. I feel surf rock is a big influence on this record.
That's so
Um,
interesting that you say that, because not to interrupt, but
no, go
uh,
for it.
I've had a couple of people tell me it's surfy, and I don't hear it, but I who knows? I I can understand why you would say like 90s. Like there are some 90s bands that were kind of on the underground, or maybe had a one hit wonder or something that maybe we kind of sound like. I don't know.
I mean, I think there's a ton of influences driving the sound of this record. I mean, I was texting with you the other night and I said combination of like Pixies and Pavement, but I also hear just with the kind of like rawness of the production, which I think really works for what you guys are doing aesthetically with this record. A band like Local H, I don't know how familiar you are with them, but a band
Mm.
that I love, especially so they they have a song called "High Fivin' Motherfucker," which
Oh,
so I saw the title of the first track and I was like, it doesn't
yeah.
really sound the same as that song, but that's immediately where my head went. And
Yeah,
then I
yeah.
started listening to it and I was like, all right, like I definitely see the influence of band like that. But I mean, there's I'm trying to think of the song. It might be Satan Doesn't. Um, Granny's Cranny is a track
Oh, I love that one.
that just
I love
cracks me up
that
too.
one.
There's one that has this guitar riff that it kind of has this Eastern sounding influence. Like it kind of reminded me of Noodles with the Offspring and his kind of signature sound. So like one of these tracks, I off the top of my head I can't remember which one it is, but like you guys are tapping into that again. Like I feel like there's grunge, like going back to like the early stages of that with like the Melvins. Like I love
Yeah,
Buzz and
yeah, yeah.
um, you sent me a picture of you in a Cramp shirt. So as far as like the punk rock influences, I can feel those there. I mean, I guess where I'm getting at with all this is like talk to me about some of the bands that you grew up listening to, that you still listen to, and that you maybe found influential through this process.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. So now you're going down the rabbit hole. I mean, um, I think at my age, I listened to punk rock almost exclusively for such a long time, and I love punk rock, and that's still mostly what I listen to is punk rock. But at some point, you grow out of certain genres, and you start to, develop an appreciation for other genres. So, everything from like the birthday party to, for me anyway, but we all listen to the same kind of, it runs the gamut from thrash to punk to jazz and country. Um, but I have a lot of different influences. Probably Black Sabbath, Ween, um, Beastie Boys. I mean, there's not really a whole lot that I don't like unless it's super contemporary, and then I get I get bored pretty easily. But yeah, I think we all have different listening, a wide variety of different listening styles.
You brought up an interesting point there with because I feel like I did the same thing as far as growing out of punk rock. Like, talk to me about that. Like, what are the albums that you go back to still after all these years? Because I'll say like a band like Face to Face, Trevor Keith, will always listen to those guys. I like one of my favorites. I mean, I got a signed poster right up here behind me
Oh,
from them.
nice,
I mean,
nice.
there's definitely a handful of punk bands that they still maintain a steady spot in the rotation. But I feel like for the most part, like I was like an Epitaph and Fat Records kid. But I feel like a lot of that stuff has kind of fallen off for me a little bit. Talk to me about that. Like, who are kind of your go-tos, and who are maybe some
Yeah,
bands that you regret not listening to as much?
yeah, good question. I had a buddy of mine, this guy Will Henry. He's an artist in Houston, and we kind of went to high school together. And uh, he introduced me to a lot of stuff. So I got into the Cramps. He introduced me to the Cramps, Dead Kennedys, Dead Milkmen, um, Black Flag, a Minor Threat, things like this. And you, you know, uh, you listen to it forever, and it's great, and it's fantastic. And but there comes a time where you're like, you want to kind of experience something a little different occasionally, and so you get into other bands. And like, I grew up in a very small Texas town, a very small conservative Texas town. And so it was country music pretty much, or like, the local pop station or whatever. But um, so being a little wannabe punk rock kid in a small Texas town, it felt great. I loved it. I loved being the outsider. And I don't know about Chris and Greg, but they have a pretty vast musical past as well. But as far as the growing out of punk rock, I think it was just, it's like anything. You desire more. Your mind desires more, and so you start to explore. And I think that's what ultimately happened, is like you just start branching out and discovering that there's fantastical amounts of music. Everybody says that like rock and roll is dead or punk is dead or whatever, and it's absolutely not. I will deny that. It's out there. It's just not popular.
This is a topic that I love to bring up because well, first of all, before I do this, who is the band that caused this shift? Like, who was the band where you're like, maybe I need to step outside of punk music and start giving some other stuff a chance?
Oh man, good question. Uh, I would say Tom Waits.
That's an excellent one. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. It still had sort of this punk rock uh, aesthetic to it, but um, I just like the kind of avant-garde stuff that doesn't. I mean, I still love poppy stuff, absolutely, but I really love weird stuff. I love the way it sounds, and I don't know. I like to be on that outer circle. You know.
Definitely. And going into the point that I wanted to make there before, it makes me think of Jim Morrison, and there's that interview where he's talking about the future of music and electronics and
Yes.
the influence that it's going to have. I mean, what is your opinion about that? I mean, is that something that it doesn't really feel like your music sounds pretty raw, pretty guitar driven. It doesn't feel like there's too many effects that you guys are playing with. I mean, is that something that you're open to down the road, working with other other compositions that you guys have in store that you're looking to kick out? Do you think that using that kind of stuff kind of shifts music outside of the realm of rock and roll? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, art is art. And, the word art is kind of like, oh, I'm an artist, I'm an artist. What I do is art. You don't understand it or whatever, which is kind of dumb because if you're an artist, you should be doing it for yourself, I think, and not doing it to appease somebody or the masses or whatever. So do it for yourself. And I would totally be open to, diverging into whatever, if it was cool and if it felt good, if it felt right, absolutely. The cool thing is with Chris and Greg, those guys are extremely open-minded musically as well. So, we have a lot of cool stuff for the next couple albums. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But you're right. We do play, it's guitar, bass, drums, vocals. It's pretty standard. We don't really, and not a lot of effects. Well, Chris uses a lot of effects, but yeah. So who knows what will happen? I'm definitely open to it.
I mean, I've always when the topic comes up, the one thing I always like to refer to is, what's really the difference between throwing down something on a keyboard and playing around with the settings on that versus using an effects pedal on a guitar.
Absolutely,
I
that's
mean,
true.
I feel like you're setting out to achieve the same goal. I do think to a degree it is kind of cool to create these arrangements. Like if you guys are like sitting there and just messing around with the hookups on all of your pedals and coming up with stuff that just sounds otherworldly and wholly original, then there is that. I don't know. Like I love that old school train of thought of messing with your gear, using the studio as kind of like an instrument as of itself, versus just going into, let's say, GarageBand or a program where you can just program something really simple and it is what it is, right? I feel the complication there becomes like, how do I replicate that live versus, if you're messing around with your equipment and you find a way to plug certain things in or, combine certain settings, like that you can do that on stage. That can be replicated, and I think that's massive in terms of being in a spot where you're trying to promote yourself and get yourself out there. And I know that live music typically is the best way to do that, especially in your guys' case, because we don't have this on streaming services yet, which is why I'm really excited to drop the needle on it for everybody tonight. But I mean, yeah, like are keyboards out of the question? I mean, are there things that you guys have maybe played around with that you find intriguing that might find their way into future projects?
Well, I wouldn't be opposed to having Jaffe lay down some tracks because I, I will say I played in bands with Jaffe over the years, and the guy is a phenomenal, piano player, keyboard player, uh, and he he's completely underrated. The music that he does, I don't think is fantastic, but I don't think it exemplifies the whole of his talent. He has a whole nother level of talent that he isn't showing, and I wish he would show it because it's good. You know, but yeah, I think. What was your question? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm just it was talking about, yeah, bringing in the likes of maybe Jaffe to collaborate, maybe maybe that fourth member
Oh,
does work in.
keyboards. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
You
yeah,
said
keyboards. I mean anything. I mean the idea of maybe like like a saxophone or like some horn arrangements or woodwinds or does any of that kind of stuff appeal to you, or are we kind of trying to stick with this?
I,
This
I think I think anything that sounds good will sound good. I don't know if we'll get to that point. We might, but I mean, I know that we're all open to it. If it sounds cool and we're vibing on it, yeah, absolutely.
So, Brittany, I think is how it's Brettany.
Yeah,
Brittany,
Brittany.
Brittany,
Yeah.
Brittany. Okay.
Hi, Brittany.
She's asking how do we get a copy. You did send me that link to your email. Are you guys? Do you want to explain how that works before we like get into the nitty gritty here and start playing
Yeah,
this thing?
yeah, absolutely. So, We don't have a website yet where you can buy the record. I'm sorry. We're Luddites, and we're we're, uh, we're figuring it out as we go. It's a new process. So, if you want a record and you want to buy a record, you can get you can email greenroomtrio@gmail.com, and we will figure out a way to get a record to you if you're down. So for now, anyway, we'll have an update. I know we're gonna have a website and all that kind of stuff, hopefully, but that'll be the best way right now.
And it's cool if I post that with the interview when we're done. Chris, is that cool? Like I just want to make sure that like our how many did you press? Like ballpark.
I think we pressed 275, and I think we
Okay.
have around 200, 220 for sale, somewhere around
Okay,
there.
cool. All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
So you guys heard that right there. We'll go ahead and post that email link. It'll be on a first come first serve basis. If you get there first, congratulations, because I think you will be very happy to own this this new record and pop it into your record shelf. I'm down to drop the needle on this thing. Is anything else that you want to follow up with before we get this thing started?
No, man, I'm excited. Let's listen and see what's going on.
All right, guys. So, I mean, you guys haven't done a listening party or anything like that yet, have you?
No, not formally, no.
All right, so I'm going to say it. This is like the first listening party for the brand new self-titled debut from Von Willard right there. I'll hold that record cover up one more time. It is a sexy cover. I really dig that. The image on the back too is like, it's kind of haunting. It's
right. Yeah.
It's got this kind of spooky noir vibe to it. It's very well done. Really like the aesthetic on that.
Thanks.
And yeah, man, I will shut up and drop the needle on this thing and we'll get going.
All right. Hello, everybody.
I will say too, real quick, before we do this, I'll pay attention to the comments. You guys feel free if you got some questions, some things that you want to ask Chris. I guess, I don't want to necessarily stop after every song, but I feel like if there's talking points, some stuff that you guys are curious about, I don't want you in the dark necessarily. I tell you what, let's do like 2 tracks at a time, and then we can talk about some stuff. We'll go with that angle.
Sounds good. I've never heard this before in my life. Just kidding. Thank you, everybody who's tuning in. Hello. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the record.
All right, here we go. This next track is called Element.
All right.
It's a great bass riff on that one. You got anything you want to comment on that one?
It's just fun.
This next track's called Satan Doesn't. Kind of like toning things down a little bit. I would definitely like the shift into something a little more mellow here.
Hey, you, bright eyes, that connection made you so high. Hey, now, don't cry. Satan doesn't know you're alive. Kicked out the windshield, crawled from the fame. This personality's all just a game. That 15 minutes seemed like a year, but the likes and hate and love all disappeared. Hey, you, lie spy, your perfection smells of a lie. Hey, now, don't cry. Satan doesn't know you're alive.
Yeah.
This next track is my favorite song title. It's Granny's Cranny.
I love this one.
You know they said once upon a time she ran away by design. Way on down on the Sunset Strip, she was a nun turning tricks. I say, I see, I say, I say. I'm on my way. Babe, I'm here to stay. She ran a joint just a hiding place for King Creole and heavy bass. Now in the stance of a beer and grind, she's saving souls, not a time. I'll say, I see, I say, I say. Hey, I'm on my way. Babe, I'm here to stay. No address you'll ever find. No welcome mat, just get in line. Within the haze and the sound so loud, the broken hearts will start to howl. They're at the bar and in the crowd. For broken hearts who want to howl. For broken hearts.
All right, Mitchell.
Next
Out of
track's
the.
moving on.
Oh, okay. We're moving on. We're moving on.
He put his brain in one piece at a time. Fresh out of prison for a life of crime, he's moving on. He grabbed his car keys, lit a cigarette, looked at the sunrise, saw his silhouette, he's moving on. Only time will tell. If it's straight up or straight to hell. Only time will tell. Only time
Yeah. All right.
This next track is called Tiny Giants.
Looking through the looking glass, solid liquid vapor gas, bouncing lights, they're moving fast. 1946 has passed. And they know our names, these tiny giants. And they know the games, these tiny giants. Oxymoron lullabies, hovering in desert skies, drain the liquid from our eyes. Nostradamus prophesied. And they know our names, these tiny giants. And they know the games, these tiny giants.
All right, and then the final track of the A side is entitled Boombox, and then we'll take a little break before we do the B side, answer some questions, talk about a few things. It's been good so far, though. It's been great so far.
Calling you to show the way. like you did once before.
Right.
All right, crew, there is your first half of the debut record from Von Willard. Let me throw on my other headphones here real quick. Chris, Jaffe was jawing me because apparently you were trying to ask me a question and I couldn't hear you.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
Do you remember what it was?
I don't. No.
Not a problem. I want to maybe just throw it out there for anybody in chat if you guys have any questions. Personally, I was it was Granny's Cranny that's got that kind of like Eastern guitar riff that
Isn't that great? I love
that. Was that you or was that
No, that was
other
Chris.
That was
Yeah.
other Chris.
Yeah, he, like I said, he will sit and go over so many options when he's playing something and be like, "What do you guys like?" So we all chime in, and it's like ultimately there's always something that is fantastic.
Do you want to kind of run down who wrote what for this first one? Lo-Fi Mofo, was that that you?
Yeah. Well, I will say. Although somebody maybe will write the song, we all contribute, equally to it. Greg's drums are his drum recordings. But yeah, Lo-Fi, I wrote, Elemental, Chris wrote, Satan Doesn't, Chris wrote, one of my favorite songs.
That's a really cool moment.
Yeah. And Granny's Cranny, Chris wrote, which I just absolutely love. That's one of my, I think it may be the favorite song on the record. I wrote Moving On and Tiny Giants, and Chris wrote Boombox, which I think is such a great song because it's like, if you're in my generation, you run around with a boombox, the Silver Machine, and you had cassettes and you mixed cassettes and you made mixtapes, and it was just a super cool thing in that era.
I've always loved the boombox, just like the aesthetic of it. I think if you ultimately did cassettes too, I would buy a cassette from you guys too. I think it's especially like when you think about the goal of a record is to just play something from start to finish. That's the same thing with a cassette. I mean, I think I think the only unfortunate thing about a cassette is that the tape is susceptible to deterioration over time. I think the records last a little longer, so that's the only bummer there. But Tiny Giants was another, talking about Greg and his drums, big drums on that track. I love that track.
Yeah,
that he was bringing there. But that was one that kind of had that surf rock feel.
Okay.
That, I know we were talking about that a little bit. I don't know if that was deliberate. Something
not deliberate. We just kind of whatever falls out of the bag falls out of the bag. But if that's what it sounds like, that's cool. I think you like that track.
I love that track. I think there's an element of just like classic rock and roll to the sound too. I mean, just sticking with the drums, the bass, and the guitar. I mean, for real, like I can hear influences of like Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper. No, I mean real. I mean like going back to that foundation of rock and roll. Chuck Berry, like a little bit of a blues bass there. Just kind of that raw early rock and roll sound that is the reason that we're all here and doing what we do and enjoying what we love.
Indeed. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it doesn't look like anybody else in the comments has posed any questions or anything. I hope you're all enjoying so far. I'd say if you got to top off your drink, do that right now. I'm going to flip this record and we're going to start the B-side here.
Right on. greenroomtrio@gmail.com if you want a record. I don't know what we're selling them for yet, probably $20 or something like that. But if you want a record, email us. We'll get it out to you. Shameless promotion.
It's the best kind. Let's go. All right, crew, this opening track is called The Rising. I gotta say, this is one of my favorites, too.
Right on.
To sea with 40 souls on board, and nothing left of the captain's rum as clouds gather on the port side. Albatross sit on the deck with sailors around their neck, just waiting for the waves to come and capsize. Rising like the thing that should not be. The night wave is the gate to all unseen. The captain folds his spyglass and he leans against the wooden mast and shuts his eyes as the sea rises from below. Rising like the thing that should not be. The night wave is the gate to all unseen. All the sailors go below and tie themselves to a pole and kiss the cross that hangs around their salty necks. Rising like the thing that should not be. The night wave is the gate to all unseen.
Love that track. Next one is called A One-Way Ride.
Through the night, hope and spite, shadows cry, left outside, tears to
That's another really solid tune. The next one is called The Feast.
Behind every prophet is a thinly veiled monster.
Silence and misty whispers down the hall on the way to Vespers. Eyes praise from the highest priest. Sit down to begin the feast. You can call him God, you can call him Sire, but he could be a vampire. Flesh and blood you can't admire. See the devil or the Messiah.
Yeah. This next track is called Brown Turtleneck Sweater, which all of you should wear the next time you go see Von Willard.
I love that.
Brown turtleneck sweater, it makes me feel much better. Brown turtleneck sweater, let's get it all together. I look in the mirror and I wonder why I close my eyes, I don't know why. Time to keep my promises. Time to reap what I remiss. I got white pants, I'm a waterbed rider. It's true, so very true.
right, your penultimate track is entitled EAP.
Blackout curtains, I don't want to love. Mother Mary, call me down above. Bad jeans and baby talk. Nothing feels life in a box, yeah. Connie Parker, land is mind control. Stole your will, letting it kill your soul. Now the walls are closing in. It should really be a sin, yeah. It was a lonesome movie, so very lonesome to see. How the walls are closing in. We know it really was a sin. Angel voices, suffocating pain, isolation, and eternal flame. Bad jeans and baby talk. Nothing feels like in a box, yeah. It was a lonesome movie, so very lonesome to see.
And your final track is entitled Soul Retrieval Machine.
Baby love, you come to rule the world above. Now you see the cracks in reality. Baby love, you left the only one you love to walk the world alone above without you. Flowers grow in colors you will never know. Afterlife, I never really sacrificed.
And there it is. And it's
There we are.
the
Yes.
new debut record.
Yeah.
From Von Willard. Let me throw my other headphones on here and we'll get into a little conversation. Congratulations, my friend. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Honestly, it's a really fun record. Damn good job on that thing from start to finish. Lots of fun influences. It was spicy freestyles here in the comment section. They were. It was funny because you were mentioning Ween earlier, and how like you recently just got into them, right? You were saying.
Yeah. So I knew of them in the '90s. I knew like the Push the Little Daisies and Sir Richard Mr. Richard Smoker songs, but I recently really have taken a deep dive, and yeah, I love Ween.
Really a cool outfit. There was someone that was asking if they were kind of like Queens of the Stone Age, and I said that they're a little more experimental. I feel like there's more of a country influence to Ween's music. Feel like Queens of the Stone Age kind of falls into stoner rock a little bit, which I also hear in your guys' sound. Like I didn't mention it, but I mean, you mentioned Black Sabbath, who I know like they get that label of being like the Godfathers of metal, right? But I think like if you look up stoner metal, they get put into that category a little bit, and I can feel that influence. I feel like the Melvins are kind of another one of those bands that
absolutely
get thrown into that category as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spicy Freestyles. Have you heard that new EP that Queens of the Stone Age put out, by the way?
I have not. Is that the one where they're playing in the catacombs?
Dude, it is like an ASMR just dream, man. Like you can hear the water trickling down there.
Really?
Like the footsteps of the musicians, like the production is outstanding on that thing.
I'm looking forward
to that. Like I really like yeah, man, I particularly love the strings, but I feel like the arrangements kind of do all have this Parisian influence, this Parisian feel, and they just suit the setting. Like it's a vibe. It is a mood. If you guys haven't listened to that, definitely check out that EP. I tried to throw up a little reel about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago when that came out, and I don't know what happened to that. I think I messed that up as trying to upload it there. But yeah, man. Anything that you want to add after the performance as far as just your thoughts on this whole experience? And I just can't get over this. This is the first time I've done this. I never really even imagined this until maybe like 2 days ago when
yeah.
This was super awesome.
No, absolutely, and thank you for figuring all the technical aspect of that out, and letting us be on your channel and debut it. And like I said, this is the first real time we're kind of broadcasting anything for this band, so it's super cool. We're excited. If people are into it, that's even more exciting. We're happy to spread the love, and again, thank you for having us on your channel, man. I wish Greg and Chris could be here with me.
I was going to say we'll in the future we can definitely link them up through this. We could I think we just messed up we probably could have just sent them an email invite, but honestly it's cool to just meet you. I mean you're the one that I've been having the conversations with, and as much as I look forward to meeting those two guys down the road and their contributions to this record, it was really cool to actually get some FaceTime with you after the last few months, and especially being friends with Jaffe in the chat there talking smack. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you showing up, buddy, and supporting. And I know he's got a new EP that he's dropping with Wayfarer here.
Yeah,
in a couple weeks, I think
in July sometime. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in like a week or two. So I'm definitely going to drop an album review for this record. I will drop an album review for that record from Jaffe as well.
Awesome.
And yeah, man, greenroomtrio@gmail.com. That's correct, right?
Yep.
If you guys are looking for a copy of this record, there's a couple hundred of them floating out there. You can contact Chris. He can set you up with some info on how to get a hold of one of those. Or otherwise, if you don't mind me, giving song titles and us chatting through this thing a little bit, you can always jump on the channel, stream this thing live. It sounded like it turned out all right, so I'm pretty pumped about that as well. I wanted to do this project justice didn't want anybody streaming something rough.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time and taking the interest. It, it's not often you run into like other audiophiles and people who are like big into like uh, just the love of music. So we really appreciate that you took the effort and kind of brought us in. So thank you.
Yeah, no, man. I feel like any type of connection that you can make with like-minded people, especially with regards to this, because I know it's making a comeback, but I still feel like like in a lot of mindsets, it's considered a novelty. It's considered this thing that is, maybe past its prime or from a bygone age, and it's not. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. And to see it make a resurgence, and to see artists like you take that extra effort, because it's funny that you guys haven't thrown it up on streaming services, because maybe it's easier, but ultimately I think there's more integrity attached to the pursuit of this process and just to the quality of the music overall. I think this record sounds just outstanding. You guys
Thank you, Mitchell.
Yeah,
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. And I think you're right. It's it's just all just love. We just want to spread the music.
Do you guys have any shows that you plan on doing anytime soon? Anything in
Oh
Colorado,
man,
anything in California at all?
No. I wish that we did. That would be rad. But we don't. But we're open to that. I'm sure. But nothing's on the books. We'll see what happens.
And then a little time frame on maybe when we could expect the next project. Obviously, don't want to rush a good thing, but do you guys have you like laid down plans for that yet? Are you still just kind of trying to
we're
enjoy this?
we're already working on it. We've been working on it. We've never stopped really. We're just continuing the work. So I think since we finally got our legs and we're feeling, we have felt out how we need to do it. This first one, we learned a lot of things. So I think the next one is going to come faster. And we already have 2 or 3 albums worth of material. It's not finished, but we have enough there to do 2 or 3 albums. So yeah, definitely more forthcoming for sure.
Excellent. I love it. Anything else that you want to say before we call it a night here?
No, just thank you for hosting us. And if you want a record, shoot the email greenroomtrio@gmail.com. And if you know me, feel free to text me, whatever. And thanks again for your time, Mitchell. I really appreciate it, man.
It is my pleasure. You guys, greenroomtrio@gmail.com. I will go ahead and post that email address as a link with this video once we're hitting the end stream button here. But as always, I appreciate all of you guys tuning into the Beat Sessions. Stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews and more content. And we will see you next time. Have a good night. Take care of one another. Peace.
Thanks, Mitchell.